The wind cut through my cheap suit like it had a personal grudge. 40 stories above the city, standing on the glass-walled rooftop of Meridian architecture, I felt like a fraud among the sleek crowd. Everyone else belonged here. Tailored jackets, expensive watches, conversations about projects worth more than my entire business. "So, Danny," Richard Meridian's voice cut through the party chatter like a rusty blade. The firm's owner approached with that predatory smile I'd grown to hate. "How does it feel to always be second in every possible way after me?" The laughter rippled through the nearby group. Polished faces turned toward us, hungry for entertainment. Even Jennifer, my wife of 12 years, smiled. That hurt more than Richard's words. I took a sip of my bargain brand beer and met his gaze. "How does it feel, knowing I'll soon be the one who owns this company?" The rooftop went quiet. Richard's face flushed red above his silk tie. "Excuse me?" "You heard me?" I kept my voice level, enjoying the shocked expressions around us. "Turns out second place still gets to write the rules." Before anyone could respond, I stepped away from the crowd. My hands shook slightly as I lit a cigarette near the edge of the rooftop. Through the glass barrier, the city sprawled below like a circuit board. That's when I saw them. Jennifer stood close to Trevor Walsh, her project manager. Too close. His hand rested on her lower back, fingers tracing small circles through her designer dress. She leaned into him, whispering something that made him grin. My stomach dropped 40 floors. I'd suspected for weeks. The late nights, the changed phone password, the way she flinched when I touched her. But seeing it confirmed felt like stepping off this rooftop. Trevor was everything I wasn't: young, fit, ambitious. He drove a BMW and wore suits that cost more than my monthly rent. He was Richard's golden boy, destined for partnership while I fixed broken cabinets in my cramped workshop. Jennifer caught me staring and stepped away from Trevor. She walked over with that practiced smile she used for difficult clients. "Having fun?" she asked. "The time of my life." I flicked ash over the barrier. "Nice party. Richard really knows how to throw one." "You embarrassed him. And me." "Did I? I thought I was just being honest." Her green eyes narrowed. "What's gotten into you lately?" I wanted to ask her the same question. Instead, I said, "Maybe I'm tired of being treated like furniture." "Danny, you're being paranoid." "Am I?" I took another drag, watching Trevor through the crowd. He was watching us, his jaw tight. "Tell me something, Jen. When did you stop wearing your wedding ring to work?" She glanced down at her bare finger, then back at me. For just a second, I saw panic flicker across her face. "I must have forgotten it this morning." "Right." I dropped the cigarette and crushed it under my heel. "I'm going home. You can catch a ride with someone else." As I walked toward the elevator, I heard her call my name. I didn't turn around. The elevator descended in silence, carrying me away from the glittering party and back to reality. But my mind stayed on that rooftop, replaying the image of my wife in another man's arms. By the time I reached the parking garage, I'd made a decision. If Jennifer wanted to play games, I'd show her how a carpenter builds things, and how he tears them down. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My workshop smelled like sawdust and betrayal. Rain drummed against the single window while I sat at my cluttered workbench, staring at the family iPad. Jennifer thought I was too stupid to figure out technology, but 12 years of marriage teaches you things. Her email was still logged in from when she'd checked it that morning. I felt like a creep scrolling through her messages, but the feeling vanished when I found what I was looking for. Trevor's name appeared dozens of times. The recent messages made my chest tight. "Can't wait for tonight. Danny's working late again. Perfect timing. T. He has no idea. Sometimes I think he's completely oblivious. J. Better that way. Makes this easier. See you at my place at 8. T. I checked the timestamp. Tonight. 2 hours ago." My hands clenched into fists, but I forced myself to keep reading. The messages went back months, getting progressively more intimate. They mocked me, my business, my clothes, even my performance in bed. Jennifer had shared details I thought were private between us. The worst part wasn't the affair itself. It was how they talked about me like I was some pathetic joke. "He actually thinks his little carpentry business matters. Richard was right to laugh at him tonight." T. I know. I felt embarrassed standing there. Everyone could see what a mismatch we are. J. After my promotion, you won't have to pretend anymore. We can be together properly. T. I can't wait. This charade is exhausting. G. I set the iPad down and walked to my tool rack. My reflection stared back from the chrome surface of a hammer. 38 years old, graying at the temples, calloused hands that built beautiful things while my marriage rotted from the inside. The rain intensified, matching my mood. I grabbed my jacket and headed for the door. If they thought I was oblivious, maybe it was time to open my eyes wider. Trevor lived in Harbor Towers, a glass monument to everything I couldn't afford. I parked across the street and waited. The neighborhood was all clean sidewalks and expensive cars, a different world from my blue-collar existence. At 9:47, Jennifer's Honda pulled into the visitor parking. She hurried toward the building entrance, her hair damp from the rain. She moved like someone with purpose, someone eager to get where she was going. I followed on foot, staying in the shadows. The lobby was all marble and mirrors, with a security desk that looked more decorative than functional. Jennifer signed the visitor log and headed for the elevators. I waited until she disappeared, then approached the desk. The guard was reading a magazine, barely glancing up. "Excuse me," I said. "My wife just went up to visit Trevor Walsh. I'm supposed to meet them, but I forgot his apartment number." The guard checked his log. "Walsh, 23B. Your wife just signed in." "Thanks." I took the stairs, needing the physical activity to burn off my anger. By the time I reached the 23rd floor, my legs ached and my breathing was heavy. But my mind was crystal clear. Apartment 23B sat at the end of a carpeted hallway. I pressed my ear to the door and heard voices inside. Jennifer's laugh, Trevor's deeper tones. They sounded relaxed, comfortable, at home. I pulled out my phone and called Jennifer's number. Through the door, I heard her ringtone, that annoying song she'd downloaded last month. "Danny?" Her voice sounded slightly breathless. "What's wrong?" "Just wondering when you'll be home. The party ended pretty early." "Oh, I'm having coffee with Lisa from HR. Girl talk, you know? I'll be late." Lisa. Another lie to add to the collection. "Okay," I said. "Have fun." I hung up and listened to her explaining to Trevor who'd called. They laughed about something, probably me. Walking back down 23 flights of stairs gave me plenty of time to think. By the time I reached my truck, I'd formulated a plan. Jennifer and Trevor thought I was stupid, predictable, harmless. Time to prove them wrong. My boxing coach, Eddie Torino, had been giving the same advice for 20 years. Don't get mad, get even. Just make sure they feel it where it counts. At 3 a.m., Harbor Towers' parking garage was empty except for security cameras and Trevor's precious BMW. The silver sedan gleamed under the fluorescent lights like a showroom model. Trevor babied that car more than most people loved their children. I'd brought supplies, a bag of sugar, a utility knife, and a handwritten note. The security cameras worried me, but I'd parked my truck 6 blocks away and walked through shadows. My dark clothes and baseball cap would make identification difficult. The sugar went into the gas tank first. Despite what movies show, it wouldn't destroy the engine immediately, but it would cause expensive problems down the road. The knife took care of all 4 tires, not slashing them dramatically, but making small punctures that would cause slow leaks. For the finishing touch, I tucked my note under the windshield wiper. Enjoy the upgrade. A friend. The whole operation took 12 minutes. I was back in my truck and driving home before 3:30, adrenaline coursing through my veins like electricity. Jennifer came home at 4:15, thinking I was asleep. She slipped into bed carefully, smelling like expensive cologne that wasn't mine. I lay still, listening to her breathing slow into sleep, and smiled in the darkness. My phone buzzed at 7:23 a.m. Trevor's number. "Hello?" I answered, injecting confusion into my voice. "Is this Danny Morrison?" "Yeah, who's this?" "Trevor Walsh, from Jennifer's office. Someone vandalized my car last night, and the security guard said a man matching your description was asking about my apartment." I sat up straighter, genuine surprise replacing my act. "What? I was home all night," asked Jennifer. "I intend to. This isn't over." The line went quiet. I stared at my phone, heart racing. The security guard remembered me. That was a problem. Jennifer emerged from the bathroom, already dressed for work. "Who was that?" "Trevor Walsh. Says someone messed with his car." Her face went pale. "What? Why would he call you?" "Apparently someone matching my description was seen at his building. Crazy, right?" She studied my face carefully. "Danny, you didn't what? I don't even know where he lives." The lie came easily. Why would I care about his car? Jennifer relaxed slightly. "Of course not. I'll talk to him at work, smooth things over." After she left, I realized my mistake. The security guard was a witness who could identify me, but instead of panic, I felt something else. Excitement. The game had started, and I was finally playing to win. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Back off, or you'll regret it. I stared at the text, then typed back. Who is this? No response. Someone was watching me, threatening me, but who? Trevor didn't seem smart enough for anonymous intimidation. Jennifer was too direct. That left someone else, someone I hadn't considered yet. I poured coffee and sat at my kitchen table, looking out at the gray morning. My reflection stared back from the window, a man who'd been pushed too far and was finally pushing back. Let them threaten me. Let them think I was some desperate husband who'd crumble under pressure. They had no idea what I was capable of. The anonymous threats continued for 3 days. Text messages from different numbers, all with the same message. Stop or face consequences. I ignored them and focused on my real investigation. Jennifer's behavior had changed since Trevor's car incident. She was nervous, checking her phone constantly, having whispered conversations that stopped when I entered the room. That's when I decided to visit Meridian architecture myself. The lobby was as pretentious as I remembered, all glass and steel designed to intimidate. I told the receptionist I was there to surprise Jennifer for lunch. She directed me to the 7th floor. Jennifer's department was an open office space with glass-walled conference rooms around the perimeter. I spotted her immediately, hunched over her computer with Lisa Chen from HR. Lisa was Jennifer's closest friend at work, a thin woman with sharp features and an expensive haircut. They were looking at something on Jennifer's screen, speaking in urgent whispers. I couldn't hear the words, but their body language screamed conspiracy. I ducked behind a pillar and pulled out my phone, pretending to take a call while I watched them. Lisa kept glancing around nervously, like she expected to be caught. Jennifer nodded at whatever Lisa was saying, then closed her laptop quickly. That's when I saw Trevor approaching their desk. He looked tired, stressed, probably dealing with his car repairs. But when he reached Jennifer and Lisa, something interesting happened. Lisa stood up and hugged Trevor. Not a friendly workplace hug, but something more intimate. Her hand lingered on his chest, and he smiled down at her with genuine warmth. Jennifer watched this interaction with an expression I couldn't read. Jealousy, confusion, fear. I moved closer, using other employees as cover. Their voices became clearer. Can't keep doing this, Jennifer was saying. Danny's getting suspicious. He's not smart enough to figure it out, Trevor replied. Besides, Lisa's handling the situation. Lisa nodded. I've got everything under control, trust me. I don't like the threats, Jennifer said. What if he goes to the police? He won't, Lisa said confidently. Men like Danny are all bluster. He'll back down when he realizes what he's up against. My stomach clenched. Lisa was behind the anonymous messages. But why? What was her stake in this? Trevor's phone rang. He answered with irritation. What? Now? I'm in a meeting. His expression changed as he listened. Are you sure? Both of them? He hung up and turned to the women. The police want to talk to me about the car. Someone reported seeing a man matching Danny's description in the building that night. Jennifer went pale. Oh no. Don't worry, Lisa said calmly. I'll handle this too. Trevor, go talk to them. Deny everything. Jennifer, you need to go home and confront Danny directly. Make him confess, then convince him to apologize and pay for the damages. And if he refuses? Jennifer asked. Lisa's smile was cold. Then we moved to Plan B. I'd heard enough. I slipped away before they could spot me, my mind racing with questions. Lisa was orchestrating something bigger than just covering up an affair. But what? As I waited for the elevator, a security guard approached. Excuse me, sir, are you Danny Morrison? My heart hammered. Yeah. The police would like to speak with you. They're in conference room A. The elevator doors opened, revealing 2 detectives in cheap suits. They looked tired, like they had better things to do than investigate vandalism. Mr. Morrison? I'm Detective Hayes. We'd like to ask you a few questions. I had 2 choices. Run or face this head on. Running would make me look guilty, but staying meant answering questions I wasn't prepared for. Of course, I said, stepping into the elevator. Happy to help. As the doors closed, I caught a glimpse of Lisa watching from across the office. She was smiling. Whatever game she was playing, I was about to find out the rules. The police interview lasted 30 minutes. Detective Hayes asked routine questions about my whereabouts, my relationship with Trevor, my knowledge of Harbor Towers. I stuck to simple answers, admitting I'd been to the building once to ask about visiting Trevor, but claiming I'd never gone up to his apartment. The security guard's description was vague enough to create reasonable doubt. Medium height, dark clothes, baseball cap. That could describe half the men in the city. When they released me, I felt victorious. But the feeling faded when I found Lisa Chen waiting in the lobby. Danny, right? I'm Lisa, Jennifer's friend from HR. She was smaller than she'd appeared upstairs, but her eyes held an intensity that made me uncomfortable. We need to talk, she continued. There's a coffee shop across the street. I wanted to refuse, but curiosity won. Lead the way. The coffee shop was crowded enough to provide privacy through noise. Lisa ordered something complicated with extra shots. I stuck with black coffee. You're making a mistake, she said without preamble. This situation with Trevor and Jennifer, it's not what you think. Really? What is it then? She leaned forward, lowering her voice. Jennifer came to me 6 months ago, crying. She said you'd been verbally abusive, that she was afraid of you. She needed someone to talk to, someone who understood. The accusation hit like a physical blow. That's a lie. Is it? Because from where I sit, you look like an angry man who vandalizes cars and stalks people. I never... The security footage shows you asking about Trevor's apartment. Your wife has documented evidence of your increasingly erratic behavior. The police are building a case. I stared at her, understanding dawning. You're setting me up. Lisa's smile was sharp as broken glass. I'm protecting my friend from an unstable husband who's clearly dangerous. Why? What do you get out of this? For the first time, her composure cracked slightly. You really don't remember me, do you? I studied her face, searching my memory. Nothing. Morrison Construction, she said. 3 years ago, you reported me to the state licensing board for taking kickbacks on the Harbor Plaza project. The memory hit like lightning. Lisa Chen had been the project coordinator who'd been skimming money from subcontractors. My report had cost her job and nearly landed her in prison. You've been planning this, I said. The affair, the setup, all of it. Jennifer was already unhappy. Trevor was already interested. I just facilitated things. She sipped her coffee calmly. You destroyed my career, Danny. Now I'm returning the favor. Jennifer doesn't know. Jennifer thinks she's in love. Trevor thinks he's getting promoted. They're both useful idiots. Lisa's eyes glittered with malice. But you're the real target. You always were. I felt sick. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was being manipulated by someone who wanted to destroy me. What do you want? I asked. Your business, your reputation, your marriage, everything you took from me. She stood up, smoothing her skirt. The police will be back with more questions. Jennifer will file for divorce, citing your abusive behavior and criminal activities. Trevor will get his promotion, then I'll destroy him too. And if I fight back? You'll lose. I have documentation, witnesses, evidence. You have nothing but anger and poor judgment. She walked away, leaving me alone with my coffee and the wreckage of my life. But as I watched her disappear into the crowd, I realized something important. Lisa had made one crucial mistake. She'd revealed her plan too early, thinking she'd already won. But the game wasn't over yet. I spent the next week planning carefully. Lisa thought she held all the cards, but she'd overlooked something crucial. I knew the truth now, and truth was a powerful weapon when used correctly. The Meridian Architecture holiday party was scheduled for Friday night. Same rooftop, same crowd, same opportunity for public humiliation, but this time I wouldn't be the target. I arrived early, before the crowd gathered. Richard Meridian was already there, schmoozing with potential clients near the bar. He saw me and frowned. Morrison, I'm surprised you showed up after last time. Wouldn't miss it, I said, accepting a beer from the bartender. Besides, I have something important to share with everyone. His frown deepened, but before he could respond, other guests began arriving. Jennifer appeared in a new dress, looking nervous. Trevor followed, staying close to her side. Lisa came last, scanning the crowd like a general surveying a battlefield. I waited until the party was in full swing, then approached the microphone used for toasts. The crowd quieted as I tapped it for attention. Sorry to interrupt, I said, my voice carrying across the rooftop, but I have an announcement that affects everyone here. Jennifer's face went white. Trevor started moving toward me, but Lisa grabbed his arm, holding him back. 3 years ago, I continued, I reported someone to the state licensing board for embezzlement. That person lost their job, faced criminal charges, and swore revenge against me. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Richard stepped forward. Morrison, what are you? That person is here tonight, I said, looking directly at Lisa, working in your HR department, planning to destroy not just me, but several other people in this room. Lisa's composure finally cracked. You're lying. Am I? I pulled out my phone and connected it to the party's sound system. Let's listen to some recordings I made this week. The first recording was Lisa's voice from the coffee shop, admitting she'd orchestrated the affair and planned to destroy Trevor after using him. The second was a phone conversation I'd secretly recorded where she bragged to someone about manipulating Jennifer. The crowd listened in stunned silence. Jennifer stared at Lisa with growing horror. Trevor's face went from confusion to rage. "You used me," Jennifer whispered. "She used all of us," I said. "Lisa Chen has been playing a long game of revenge, and everyone here was just a piece on her board." Lisa tried to run, but Trevor blocked her path. His face was twisted with fury. "You made me believe Danny was abusive," Jennifer said, her voice breaking. "You said I deserved better, that I should be happy." "You do deserve better," Lisa snapped. "He's nothing. A failed contractor who—" "Who what?" I interrupted. "Who reported a criminal for stealing money? Who built an honest business while you schemed and manipulated?" Richard stepped forward, his face dark with anger. "Security. Escort Ms. Chen from the building. She's terminated, effective immediately." As security led Lisa away, she turned back to scream at me. "This isn't over. You think you've won, but you've lost everything that matters." She was right about one thing. As I looked at Jennifer's tear-streaked face, I realized our marriage was probably beyond repair. The affair might have been manipulated, but it had still happened. The trust was broken. But I'd won something more important: my dignity, my reputation, and the satisfaction of beating someone who thought she was smarter than me. Trevor approached hesitantly. "Danny, I'm sorry. You thought what she wanted you to think," I said. "We all did." The party was over, the crowd dispersing in uncomfortable whispers. Jennifer and I stood alone on the rooftop where this all began, the city lights glittering below us. "What happens now?" she asked. I looked at my wife, really looked at her, and saw a stranger. The woman I'd married wouldn't have been so easily manipulated, so quick to believe lies about me. "Now you figure out who you really are," I said. "And I go home to my workshop." I walked toward the elevator, leaving Jennifer on the rooftop with her regrets. As the doors closed, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Peace. Lisa had called me a failure, but she was wrong. I'd built something she couldn't destroy, my integrity. And unlike her carefully constructed web of lies, that foundation would last. The elevator descended toward street level, carrying me away from the wreckage of my marriage and toward whatever came next. I'd lost a wife, but found myself again. That seemed like a fair trade.